To the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS podcast with hosts Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook live stream here. We are breaking down Tuesday's 12-game main slate. James, Monster Tuesdays continue throughout the season, as they always have. 12 games on tap here today, my friend. How are we doing?
We're doing great, John. This Tuesday afternoon is glorious. 12 games. I'm glad there's no weather delays, or I'm glad people in Los Angeles seemingly are doing better there. So, just feeling great about everything. Again, 12 games to look forward to. Not the best pitching slate we've had, especially for 24 teams taking the diamond tonight, but we will push through as long as it's better than last night, where, there ended up being a lot of good pitching at the tail end of the evening.
Yeah.
The start of the evening was not very fun. If you rostered anybody that started before, 8 o'clock, like it was, brutal. So
I think I sent you a screenshot where it was 4 of the first 5 pitchers to start all had negative fantasy points at one point.
Yeah.
So not great. Alec March came through for us, though, in his long relief. And, of course, Luis Castillo, as we said, was the top pitcher here. Did not disappoint. 45, I think it was, fantasy points, or 40 fantasy points. Something in that range. Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot of fantasy points.
And don't disrespect my boy Paul Blackburn, who went out there and was dealing again.
He did his thing. That's fine. Good on him. They didn't win the game. So... They didn't win. I can't see. I think won that game.
No, other way around. Oakland did win, yeah.
Casey tied it. I know that much. So.
Maybe Casey did win. I don't know.
I thought Casey won. I don't know. It doesn't matter. We're on to today. We're on to Tuesday. We got 12 games.
On to Cincinnati.
Who is on this slate today, going up against Lucas Giolito, but we'll talk all about that in a few moments here as everybody starts to roll in. Again, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Real Time Fantasy Sports. If you haven't yet gone over to RT Sports, go ahead and do so today. rtsports.com/alarm. Promo code alarm23 will get you a 100% deposit match up to $200 there. You can see the QR code here on the screen. You can find the link in the description of the YouTube video there as well. Take advantage of all they have going on there at RT Sports, from their DFS pickup contest to their fantasy football, best ball, and fantasy football seasonal championship contests that are going on right now. Their fantasy football main event championship is a $300 buy-in. You have a shot at $500,000 just by entering and playing some fantasy football this season. That tournament is already over 50% full. But you go ahead, you deposit, use your deposit match, where you can use some of those funds there towards some of their fantasy football entry contests or their DFS pick'em game. Like we're going to go over tonight, we're going to give some of our top plays right now. Taking a look here at the RT Sports DFS Pick'em slate board here tonight. James, where do you want to kick things off today, man?
Let's go to St. Louis, Pittsburgh. We're going to go right to my boy, Jae-Hwan Bae today. He's going more than half a run, leading off for Pittsburgh tonight up against Adam Wainwright. He's looked good since returning from the IL, hits in 2 of 3. He scored 2 runs in a game 2 games ago. And we've talked about how bad Adam Wainwright's been all year. It just hasn't gotten any better for him. They were determining whether or not to keep him in the rotation after the last start. He actually didn't look terrible, but he still allowed 8 base runners and 3 earned, and things were not great. So Jae-Hwan Bae back atop the Pittsburgh Pirates lineup. Lefties have a 465 WOBA against Adam Wainwright. Bae has 15 stolen bases against right-handed pitching this year. And Pittsburgh, surprisingly enough, is one of the highest implied totals of the day. Not your parents' Pirates, but like the parents' Pirates are probably better than these Pirates. So, I like Jae-Hwan Bae to go more than half a run.
It's not your middle schooler self.
Yes, Pirates. Yes, that's a good one. I like that one.
When you had like McCutchen and Marte and what could have been with that outfield.
Gregory Polanco was supposed to be something, and he just never was. Yeah.
Right. They had Josh Bell coming up as the nice
Josh Bell.
Prospect, Yeah. So, anyways, I'm going to go to the Minnesota and Milwaukee matchup here. If you could, please. Christian Yelich, 5.5 fantasy score here, going up against Bailey Ober. We're going to take the over on that one here this evening. Again, Bailey Ober has just been getting hit up lately. I like Yelich here in this spot. Leadoff hitter, can get a hit, can steal a base, can score a run, and he's over. So even the hit and stolen base will get you the over. So it doesn't take much for Yelich tonight at the 5.5. So we're going more than the 5.5 fantasy points for me.
Yeah, Christian Yelich should have no problem going over that tonight. So I like that quite a bit, John.
Yeah, more. He's going more than the 5.5.
Yeah, Ober. It was a play on the Ober.
Over. I thought you were getting at me for calling over and not more.
No, that was just an Ober. That was just an Ober joke.
Got it. It went over my head there.
Sorry. It did go over your head for sure. Yeah. Something also going to go over a lot of people's heads tonight is a Mookie Betts home run.
Sure.
So 9.5 fantasy points for Mookie Betts going up against old pal Noah Syndergaard tonight. We're going to go more than, and you could also take the total bases if you want. I think he's going to homer. He was the cover of tonight's show. He was the cover of our podcast as well. I don't think there's many better spend ups in DFS this evening. So more than 9.5 fantasy points for Mookie Betts.
Sure. I'm good with that. So that's our 3 plays here then this evening. J1 Bay, more than a half a run. Christian Yelich, more than 5.5 fantasy points. And Mookie Betts, more than 9.5 fantasy points. Get an opportunity to 6x your plays over at RT Sports. And again, those of you who have not yet signed up can take advantage of the offer we have on the screen here. 100% deposit match up to $200 when you use promo code ALARM23 when you go to rtsports.com/alarm. All right, James, let's get into the main event here of the evening. Going to take a look at the DraftKings board. Talking about 12 games on tonight's main slate. Looking at over at Vegas. Talk to me. What some of the high totals and spreads we're looking at today?
So in terms of totals, Pittsburgh, St. Louis pretty much stayed at 10 on most sports books. Mets, Braves opened at 11. I thought it was 10.5 last night, but it is 11 on most sports books, and there is a lean some places on the over there. Those are the only 2 notable over-unders. There is 7.5 implied runs, just 7.5 implied runs in Miami, San Diego. Jesus Luzardo versus Blake Snell. Nothing else of like much significance on that front. In terms of money line favorites, I know the Dodgers -200 on the road. We see the Braves big over 200 on pretty much every sports book up against the Mets. They host the Mets, even though they got shelled last night. Austin Winans did not win us any money last night. That is for sure. Blake Snell and the San Diego Padres -190. In some places, -192 over on DraftKings Sportsbook. Hosting the Miami Marlins, we saw what the Padres offense can do against lefties. I mean, it wasn't great after that Ha-Seong Kim grand slam. Nothing really. And then Machado home run, and then there was just 4 innings of just stagnant baseball. But that's it. That's all that we really got. Surprising to see Carlos Rodon and the Yankees such big favorites at home since they've lost 8 in a row. But
Dodgers are -205.
Yeah, they were the first one.
Yeah, that's fine. So that's a look at our spreads here for today. I see some questions already rolling up in the chat rooms. Get them in if you got us today. Ryan want to know if we play tiers. I've dabbled in tiers every now and again, but if you have any tiers questions, feel free to throw them in chat here. And then, of course, Mark going on into pitching here. Doesn't see how Clevenger doesn't get murdered today. I would agree. Really tough matchup for him going
in game, like in the game, not murdered.
Actually murdered? He might get
that would be terrible. I mean, that'd be terrible. Not that he's
possible here. Yeah. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about pitching. I did the playbook today. It's out. You can go to fanstom.com and check it out here. Go to fanstom.com/win if you haven't yet signed up already. You can take advantage of the All-Pro offer. It comes with a 7-day free trial. If you want to go All-Pro, you can also scan the QR code here on the screen. News as we come in, Yordan Alvarez has been scratched tonight for the Houston Astros. So if you're looking to play Yordan against Tanner Houck and the Red Sox, no longer to be today. That's good to know. Wasn't in the playbook today. I like Tucker anyways. Pitching, though. Gallen, Snell, Ober, top three guys up over $10K. You have Verlander, Giolito, and Luzardo up over $9,000 here. Only one of those six made the playbook today.
Probably your least favorite of the six, too, if I had to guess.
I don't know who that would be.
I mean, the guy that you pick on every time, every fifth day. Well, I
Then
guess now it's sixth day.
Blake Snell is the only guy that made the playbook of that six.
Yes, the strikeout upside right now is very high ceiling.
Yes. Even in games where he gives up runs, he's giving you 20-plus fantasy points. Again, the huge favorite that the Padres are tonight leads to that win equity that you're looking for as well. I am just not personally in on Gallen. We've talked about Ober, not a fan of. Verlander's fine, but not my favorite spot. Giolito, I don't trust. Luzardo, hard to go against pay 9K when he is a plus 200 underdog, right? So Snell was the only one of this top six price guys to make the playbook today.
Snell is the third highest projected rostered pitcher tonight. Lucas Giolito, as we talked about yesterday, is the highest owned pitcher of the evening. And it's Cincinnati striking out a boatload right now. And I understand that he's been, like you said, he's been very unreliable, very inconsistent. There is a lot of strikeout appeal to Giolito here, a guy who averages over a strikeout per 9 innings or a strikeout per inning. I don't love that he's the highest rostered pitcher. I do like the discount from Snell for saving $1,600, and I don't really like the rest of the 9K tier. And you mentioned Luzardo, and Mark brings up his ownership. I mean, he's 4% rostered. Nobody's playing. I mean, I get it. Like, he's been bad. So I'm good with Snell. The price is obviously, he needs to get deep into games for him to off this. Like at 10-7, I don't think I'm happy with 20 or 23 point. Like 23 is okay.
Yeah. I mean, it again depends on the slate, right? How many guys can get to 23 tonight, right? So, I mean,
I think there's a good amount of guys that could for like that are cheaper.
That's possibly. Yeah, possibly.
30 upside. I don't know how many people could on this slate could get to 30, and I know Snell could, right? Like Snell
had 28 fantasy points in 5 innings against Texas. So I'm paying for that more so than the floor. Playing for the ceiling when you're paying a guy that's 10-7. Ryan wants to know about Yankees stack. We'll talk about Josiah Gray here a little bit later, but I'm not in on the Yankees here tonight. They just don't hit right-handed pitching, which makes Gray kind of interesting if you want to go one-off. My top pitcher tonight was Bobby Miller. Again, I understand the strikeouts, only 4 in the last 2 games, and now he's going up against a Cleveland team that doesn't strike out. But there's minus 200 road favorites tonight. If he just gives you what he's given you the last 2 starts, he's getting you 20-plus fantasy points. So I don't think this is unreasonable for him to get 4 strikeouts tonight against Cleveland, go 6, give up an earned run, and get the win, and you're good, right, at $8,600 here. So I like Bobby Miller a lot in this range here. And then Kikuchi, I think, is interesting because of his current run. Now, I just did the Better Sports Betting Show with Dan Servideo. He rattled off a billion stats on why Baltimore's been hammering lefties and Mountcastle and that crew. All of it's valid. All of it's true. Kikuchi did just pitch against them 3 starts ago and dominated them. So, take that for what it is, but he's probably the best current form pitcher on the slate. I mean, he hasn't given up more than an earned run in 6 straight starts. So, I mean, hard to do that, right? So, for me in this next tier of guys, I had Kikuchi and Miller for the 8K range.
Yeah, I love Miller. In August, as you mentioned, Cleveland's still just not striking out, but bottom 10 in OPS, bottom 10 in WOBA against right-handed pitching. And like the Kikuchi thing is like he's not only just like limiting, he's not allowing home runs. And that was like he's allowed 22 home runs in his 24 starts. He's allowed 0 in his last 6 starts. So he allowed 22 home runs in his first 18 starts. He's allowed 3 over his last 10. So he allowed 19 in his first 14.
Right.
Like everything's a strikeout or on the ground. And if that's what we're going to get from Yusei Kikuchi, good luck. Like Baltimore, as we know, has become a park friendly to pitching.
Yep.
So, no, I don't disagree. You and I mean, you are the biggest Baltimore proponent against lefties of all time. Like you have hit these airwaves every time Baltimore is facing lefty. Like I don't care who the lefty is, I'm playing him. Like it was Framber,
Fried.
it was Fried. Like you did not care.
I played him against Kikuchi, and he shoved it. He shoved it on me. So, listen, I agree. All of that's accurate. All of that still holds true. Could certainly go ahead and play Kikuchi. Are people getting Kikuchi tonight?
Mild interest. Yeah, so the 5 pitchers, and Giolito. Sure. I'll bury the second guy. We'll talk about him in a few. Blake Snell, Carlos Rodon, who we could just go to right now because he's in this tier. I don't understand. $7,800, 20% of the field's getting to him. And then another value play everyone's getting to, and we'll talk about. There's 2 values that everyone's getting to, but the Rodon thing is interesting. No, Kikuchi's about 10%. So sure. If he's going to be 10%, there's a good ceiling there.
Yeah, for sure. I see 3 of you talking of Grayson, and that's where I come in. That's where my hang up on Yusei is tonight, because I do like Grayson Rodriguez at $6,100. Toronto's been a team that struggled lately against right-handed pitching. For most of the year, they haven't been great against right-handed pitching. He's $6,100, and this is a slate where, there's risk basically across the board here. I mentioned Miller and Kikuchi there. I think Wu is kind of interesting against the White Sox at $7,600. He wasn't a guy that they allowed to go a ton of pitches anyways. He kind of maxed out around like 90-ish pitches when he was on the mound. So, like, what kind of limitations is he going to have for a guy that didn't care to send to a rehab assignment and basically was throwing shortly after being shut down in the first place? Oviedo is one of the highest win favorite guys on the board. He's plus 135 tonight to get a win against the Cardinals, and that's an interesting number for a guy that was really good for a stretch and that has been really bad the last 2 outings for him there. So there's a lot of question marks once we get past into the 7K and below range. And Grayson, for me, kind of stands out as an upside play, given what his roster shit, not his roster, but like what we consider him to be as a prospect and his ceiling.
It is, well, his roster ship he's the second highest on pitch of the slate. So he was the person I was skipping over.
Because you want to pay up for bats, so you get Grayson at home against a struggling offense against righties, and it just all adds up.
Yeah, and like you said, sprinkle in how good he's been since the call up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, since he got called up, he hasn't allowed. He said 1 start allowing more than 2 earned runs, and now that was against this Toronto team, but he got you 16 fantasy points in a loss, and $6,100 would be more than acceptable. And then if we think they're going to win, he gets you 20. So I'm with everybody here. I see 3 you likes him. Ryan here saying that they locked in as an SB2, full on agreement. That's where I'm going here this evening. What are your thoughts on some of the other guys mentioned here?
Oviedo, fine-ish. Like St. Louis is better, obviously, against left-handed pitching. But they do still have like Obviously, their lineup is still good. I don't love Burleson hitting second, but lefties have hit Oviedo harder, so he's okay. Woo, do we have a pitch count? I mean, we saw 20 pitches in a bullpen last week, and it was a forearm. It was inflammation. So, do we expect him to be on a pitch count? Because I would be hesitant to say he would throw like more than 80 pitches.
Sure. I mean, well, that's the thing, right? So says he pitched more than 80 pitches, but you kind of look at his game logs. He wasn't really throwing it. He's throwing 90, right? 85. I don't know. I think there's some potential there, just given the matchup against the White Sox.
It's definitely a great matchup. The problem with like Brian Wu has been, you look at it and I'm not saying he doesn't get deep into games because he's thrown 6 innings a handful of times, but like the pitch count's gotten up there really fast because he's a guy who throws a lot of pitches just based on strikeouts and walks. Like he's a guy who has 60 strikeouts in 55 innings.
We did watch, you and I watched Gamecast last night where Castillo was getting one pitch out because the White Sox were just going up there and swinging at everything. So again, just the matchup for me, I think is the appeal for Brian Wu. Plus, we also think, again, Seattle's a favorite here. So if he can get a win, he pitches 5 2/3, gets a W. He only has one win on the season, and he had 23 fantasy points in that game, throwing 5 1/3 innings. I mean, just where I'm at with him. That's just my thought process behind it. So, are you getting to any of the Grays? We've had a question on the Yankees. Do you like Josiah and or John Gray?
Yeah, I wrote John Gray up today in the MLB DFS value article. He's 6,700 on DraftKings. It's a vastly different price than FanDuel. He's 9,200 on FanDuel. So it's more so a DraftKings play. But John Gray was really good earlier in the year. And then he hit a stretch where he was really bad. And then he pitched against a bad team in San Francisco. And we're like, well, can he repeat it? And then he had a really good start against LA again. And you look at Arizona was a great offense. And the key word there that I said was a good offense. They have not been a good offense. If you look at them during August, they're 24th in OPS and they're 24th in WOBA against righties. They have a subpar isolated power number as well. It just hasn't been the same team. That's why they've fallen so far in the standings, right? They were winning the West for a bit. And
someone tweeted out Corbin Carroll's number since he had that shoulder injury where everybody thought he was going to land on the IR, and then all of a sudden, like he played the next day. He's hitting 236 since then. So clearly, he's probably not 100%, right? And he's just playing through it, and the numbers have obviously suffered. And what do we say all the time? Like, offenses go as their best players go. We've seen Seattle. We've seen other guys just ride these hot streaks. And Corbin Carroll, when he was looking like, an MVP candidate earlier this year, the Arizona Diamondbacks were scoring runs and winning games. And now that he is struggling, probably due to the shoulder here, then, that offense has struggled.
We have breaking news here.
Oh, no.
Mike Trout has been activated from the IL.
Wow.
In case anyone was interested in playing Graham Ashcraft tonight.
Was that an expectation, or did we know?
Apparently, manager Phil Nevin spoke with the media about an hour ago and suggested that Trout, he's $6,100, could possibly return. He is, in fact, returning today.
All righty.
So just some news. We're on pitching. If you want to play Graham Ashcraft now, don't. Because
probably anyways, but
No, but just adding to the Angels' offensive prowess there. But I do have interest in John Gray, and I just want to get your take on one more pitcher because I teased it a little bit. What do you make of the field getting to Hogan Harris tonight,
John? Skeptical.
He is
skeptical to say the least.
He is not. They announced actually
He's the opener.
Danny
He's the long
Jimenez.
reliever. They have an opener.
Yeah, Danny Jimenez will open tonight's game. What is your take on nearly 18% of the field getting to Hogan Harris?
Morgan Freeman, good luck. Like
Just throwing it out there as like maybe but Carlos Rodon and Hogan Harris being in the top 5 of ownership were not things I had on my bingo.
Nothing I'm doing. Yeah, it's not on my bingo card. So if I lose the Hogan Harris coming in and giving the Shamanaya 4 shutout 7K outing, then sure. Fine. Right. I deserve to lose tonight because Grayson is $200 more. So
right.
Would rather go. And you said the whole field's getting the Grayson anyway. So
Yep.
Would rather. People are probably just like, oh, if the field's getting Grayson, like I'll pivot down and go Hogan Harris in a big ballpark against Kansas City. Yeah, Michael Garcia is going to lead off for them tonight. They have Bobby Witt, Salvi Perez. I mean, like Kyle Isabel, I guess, is a decent guy, right? So but the Royals lineup isn't like the greatest, but they're hot. So I don't know. Not that I'm getting to here. Let's go on over to Catcher. Those of you tuning in, we appreciate you all. If you have any questions, get them in. Ryan, I see your questions about tiers. Acuna or Betts. I think we're in on Mookie here tonight. Yep. And then you also have Freeman in tier 2. That's fine. You can fully stack all of them. So it's all 100% fine in tiers. Play the highest scoring output games. So and go there. Catcher here. We talked on the show this morning. We liked a lot of the mid-tier guys. I liked Cal Raleigh as my spend-up. I liked Freddie Fermin. And Ryan Jeffers is not in the lineup tonight. That's unfortunate. We got Christian Vasquez here. So that takes out one of the guys that we were in on. But Endy against Wainwright, it's $2,900. Where are you targeting catcher tonight?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everyone you just mentioned.
Sure.
Endy is the primary target. I am buying the Pittsburgh sauce here, which is, scary in its own right, but 5.5 implied runs, Adam Wainwright on the mound. Me and everyone else haven't been shy about targeting Adam Wainwright, right? So, everyone but you, because you play Adam Wainwright versus
that worked out the last time. Right? So you can't yell.
Yep, all 7 fantasy points he gave you.
You can't yell at me for that. That was working out for a little bit.
So Endy hitting 5th again would probably be the primary target I'd get to. But both other guys you mentioned, and I would, for the record, I know Will Smith has been bad lately. I would go up to Will Smith because
he's just so expensive.
Syndergaard's just, I know, but you could get cheap Dodgers outfielders. Peralta's hitting 5th. He's sub 3K. Hayward's sub 3K, hitting 6th. And Outman is 3,400, hitting 7th. You can make a viable Dodger stack and still have cheap pieces hitting in.
But if you're, this is probably to be different, but if you were saying 4-man stack the Dodgers tonight, you take 2 of their cheap outfielders, you play Mookie, and then you're playing Will Smith over Freddie Freeman. That's where you're going. I
mean, I understand what the argument is because, but it's not like Freeman's been any better than Smith in the recent stretch. So you're getting a lesser owned Will Smith than Freddie Freeman. So Freddie Freeman is the highest projected first baseman roster tonight, right? So nobody is surprised Freddie Freeman was in the winning lineup tonight. I think you fade if you are being different, and because the Dodgers are obviously, with reason popular. Yeah. You always and in situations like that, right? We're looking to kind of differentiate from still using the Dodgers, but doing it differently, right? So I get what you're saying. I don't disagree. Do I think Freeman's a better play than Will Smith? Yeah, but he's also higher owned. And if Will Smith homers and Freddie Freeman doesn't, you have a big leg up on the field there.
Fair enough. I don't disagree with the tournament strategy there. The Prince is showing up. Wants to know what his top pitchers are today over on FanDuel. Again, I still think it's Bobby Miller. But if Blake Snell is my top spend up for me, the two guys there. Grayson Rodriguez probably interesting FanDuel play too. He's pretty cheap over there. So if you want to spend down on Grayson Rodriguez on FanDuel today and get the bats, do that. And then Ryan wants to know, are we cheating on Minnesota? No, you wait. Did you see the cover of the playbook today? It's the Twins.
Didn't look at the playbook.
It's the Twins. We're not cheating on the Twins today. Don't you worry. All right, let's go over to first base. Then you mentioned Freeman is there. Obviously, so is Ohtani, who now has Trout back in that lineup. So is Olsen, who's dealing with McGill. Pete Alonso continues to play well, and Elder is really starting to fall down the wayside here. So I know I just rattled off the top 5 priced first basemen, and you can play them. It's just what it is today, right? Like, I didn't find there to be a lot of value first basemen that I like today. There's a few, but I was largely spending up at first base today.
You in the field. I mean, Freeman, everyone's getting to. You could obviously, I think Trout's return makes it more appealing to play Angels and makes it more appealing to play Ohtani at first too, just to not clog up both outfield spots with first base or with Angels there. So yeah, I mean, I think any of those top dogs are interesting. I largely agree. You could play Salvi here, which I think is interesting. If you wanted to play Furman at catcher and use Salvi at first, I think that's a little bit interesting. But everything else you said is pretty viable. There is not like a clear-cut value. And I think that's why we're seeing Connor Joe as the second highest rostered first base.
From a BVP perspective, Ryan Mountcastle has dominated Yusei Kikuchi. He's got 4 homers. Mark saying postpone LA Cincy. Did that game get postponed?
Let's look. No, I don't. They literally activated Trout 8 minutes ago. So I have not seen anything in the LA Cincy game that would
doesn't say it on the DraftKings slate that it got postponed. So let me know.
No, there's nothing. Okay. There's nothing.
That was 2 days ago. It got postponed, but it wasn't.
Mark, I don't know if you knew it's Tuesday.
Yeah, it's not Monday. Don't scare me like that, man. We're out here trying to break down a slate, man. All right, so Mountcastle's got ridiculous BVP numbers against Kikuchi. You can go look at it and check him out. He handles left-handed pitching really well. If you wanted to go there, you could. The guys in the mid-tier that I was looking at first base is Carlos Santana against Bailey Ober, $3,900. I think he's in play. We didn't mention Yanni or Diaz at catcher, but you can play them both. He's in cleanup again tonight with no Jordan Hauk. But Carlos Santana was the one, as was Connor Joe was the other guy that I was looking at first base tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I like both those guys. I can see why you would get to both. And I think maybe I have a little more interest in the value. Donovan Solano leading off is interesting, $3K. And Nolan Chenal at $2,500 in the non-canceled Angels Cincinnati game. If I don't know where they're going to hit him, but if he's going to lead off in front of Ohtani Trout, I assume that he's going to continue to just get all the pitches to hit. And at 2,500, maybe that is a situation where you play Ohtani and Trout in the outfield together because you have a cheap Chenal leading off. So, 2 values that I kind of have my eye on.
Yeah, I agree with you. The other one I'll throw out there is Ty France. You can get hit to him as well with Seattle here. Let's go over to the second base position here. Mookie Betts is your top price second base at $6,400. Are you playing him in second or in the outfield today?
Wherever he is available, you just play him. Just play him wherever you can play him. Wherever he slots in, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. He is my favorite. He is my favorite spend up of this.
Okay.
He's on a different.
We got Geloff here against Zerpa at $5,500. Again, Oakland is going with 9 different guys here, I guess. Hogan, they have Zerpa. We got the other update that it was Jimenez, you said, or That was going.
No. You're
I'm
backwards
flipping
right now.
them. I'm flipping them. You're right.
Zerpa is opening for Greinke.
Okay, Zerpa's opening for Greinke. That's what it is. Okay. Anyways, we think Greinke sucks too. So if you wanted to go Geloff here, certainly can. I went again down to this range: Polanco and Kim, 49 and 46. If we weren't spending up for bets, Polanco against Miley, and then of course Kim came through in a big way for us last night with that grand slam against Ryan Weathers.
It is interesting, the Zerpa thing, because he threw 4 innings in back-to-back starts. So I don't even know how much we're going to see of him or Greinke.
Yeah.
Like, no idea. But Geloff homered again, like you said. Yeah, Polanco and Kim make all the sense in the world here. It's a really good second base position tonight. The only other name is the person who's going to hit a home run at plus 950, and that's Jae-Hwan Bae.
Yeah, $2,700 is enough.
$2,700 leading off, hitting his 3rd home run tonight and stealing his 21st. As my dog smacks the door. I don't think he thinks that Jae-Hwan Bae is gonna.
Or Laney.
It is Zeus. He's locked out of. I think he's locked out of this, and he's locked out of this room, and he's locked out of my wife's the bedroom right now. So he's like, I need to get in somewhere, so let me in to your office. He just left, so he's probably going to go do it to their door.
Fair enough.
Thanks, Zeus. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I like Jae-Hwan Bae. I also like Brendan Drury. I think guys starting to heat up a little bit. You're adding Trout now back into that lineup. Homers in back-to-back games for Brendan Drury here. $3,800. Not a bad little power option for a guy there. Second base only here.
We just got an Angels lineup too, John. Nate Nolan, or is it Nolan? Nolan, right? Chanel leading off again.
Okay.
Trout, Ohtani, Drury.
All right. Hitting fourth. Love it.
And the Moose is on the loose hitting 5th. So very, very solid top of the lineup. You can afford that stack is really not that expensive.
Not because it's Chanel there at $2,500, right? So
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Drury's in my player pool against Ashcraft here tonight for sure. Third baseman, guys. Riley was my home run call on the Better Sports Betting Show. Just teaser for what's to come. $5,800 against McGill. He's homered off him before. McGill just is trash in general. And I think that you could play again Machado and see if he can give you the homer that he gave you last night as well.
Dude, he's been and he homered, I believe, off a right-handed pitcher last night too. I don't think they left Weathers in the game.
No, he was not long for that.
He was long. He was much longer than I figured he would be. To be honest, they kept running him out there.
In fact, he's gonna get thrown out at home in the first inning. Who knows?
That's fair. Yeah, I like Machado quite a bit. He's been great against lefties, and if Luzardo is going to continue to struggle, there's no reason to think San Diego can't put up another crooked number. I agree on the Riley front. Braves have you don't really see this often when it's not Coors or when it's not 6.8 implied runs for the Braves tonight.
Yeah, it feels broken, but it's probably true.
It's probably true. And it was something similar last night, but dude, 6.8 runs doesn't even feel real.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what DraftKings Sportsbook has it at as well, just to kind of give the general consensus here on their game props. Team run total. Atlanta is they have 6.5. They got it at 6.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Most numbers on this board are 4.5 or 3.5, and the Braves are 6.5. So they're the only.
And they're the highest projected roster.
Yeah, they're the only team higher than 4.5 on the slate.
That's a little surprising.
They're 2 full runs higher than the next team.
Is it the Dodgers or the Pirates?
A lot of teams are set at 4.5.
Okay.
Dodgers are 4.5 minus 140 on the over. So
that doesn't surprise me. The Braves are the highest rostered team. It's Braves, Pittsburgh, Dodgers tonight. So
probably answers that question then if we're talking runs, right? Olsen.
Probably. It's that's like having you go to Hibachi and they're like, you're sitting down at they're like, what do you, steak or chicken tonight? And you're like, both, because they're both elite
Sure.
at a hibachi restaurant.
Sure.
So you can't go wrong with that.
Can't go wrong with it. I agree. All right, so those are the top third baseman here. I think Maikel Garcia at $4,300 is in play here. Suarez, Royce Lewis, all guys that I'm looking at in the mid tier here.
I'll throw Muncy in there, 4,700 too. Just
Sure.
lefties against Syndergaard. I mean, righties against Syndergaard, bat boys against Syndergaard. Like everyone against Syndergaard has been a thing, but
Yeah.
I do like Max Muncy for a home run.
We had a question earlier on Kyle Farmer here. Our guy Faisal. Farmer versus Miley sound good to you? Again, I'm playing the 5 through 7 hitters for the Twins to go with the Dodgers stack. Yeah, Kyle Farmer hits lefties. I don't mind it. He's actually hitting 6. He's hitting 6 tonight here. I mean, obviously I'd like Polanco and Correa and all those guys as well, but just getting Twins exposure tonight certainly can make it work if it helps you get the Dodgers in your lineup tonight. So I'm in. And then Aledmus Diaz, as you talked about, he's been hot lately. Double again last night here. Is 10 for 27 with 2 homers the last 10 games. If you want to go there at 2,900, you could.
Yeah, and truthfully, like, no one's gonna play Oakland, so
Right.
Not that like we should go overboard with Oakland, but no one's gonna play him. So I saw their lineup. They're leading off Jonah Bride. I don't even know what position Jonah Bride. He's third base. We're here. He's 2K. He's leading off tonight. Just throwing that out there. But he is leading off at 2K. He is also hitting 160 on the year.
He's 1 for 17. You're a prototypical leadoff hitter. So
you're everyday.
You really
Scott
can't
Hatterberg.
put Astoria Ruiz here. Like
Astoria Ruiz hitting 8th this evening, John. Because he has been much worse in the leadoff hole than
who cares?
Jonah Bride.
Leadoff Brent Rook.
No, I was
right. Like it's just...
Well, I mean, looking at Oakland's lineup is hilarious because their lineup they're running out tonight is Jonah Bride, Geloff second. They have Perez hitting third.
Yeah.
He's hitting 230 on the year. Rooker fourth, Aledmus Diaz fifth, Jordan Diaz sixth, Langolier seventh. All those guys hit home runs last night. They're all hitting 6th or 7th, or 6th, 7th, or 5th, 6th, 7th. Astoria Ruiz led off the game, base hit, stolen base last night, hitting 8th. And then Nick Allen, who probably won't be on the team next year, but
Jonah Bride's their leadoff hitter.
But Jonah Bride, and Carlos Perez is their 3 hitter. They had 4 options to put at the top of their lineup, but they just didn't do any of them.
Billy Bean used to talk about giving teams outs. It feels like you're leading off this game with 1 out.
Maybe
it feels like that's what's happening there with Jonah Bride as your leadoff hitter. All right, let's move to shortstop. Obviously, elite talent at the top: Seager, Ellie, Witt, all in play. Obviously, I like Bobby Witt. I like Seager here. But the shortstop that I put into the majority of my lineups today was Carlos Correa at $4,600 against Wade Miley.
Talk to me why. I want to know the allure of Carlos Correa.
Well, one, he's hot. 344, 1163 OPS, 3 homers last 10 games. Historically good against lefties. Over the course of his career has been good against lefties. And I think Wade Miley is trash. So I like the Twins. He's on the cover of the playbook. I'm having a twin stack, and I want the cleanup hitter for that twin stack in my lineup.
And to your point, he has come around against lefties this year. 200 ISO, second on the team, third on the team, I excluded Michael A. Taylor for a second. That was my bad. And then 361 WOBA leads the team. So his shirt says Minnesota. Actually, probably a Sonoma shirt if I had to guess.
Actually, this shirt I got in Austin, Texas.
So neither Minnesota or
on
Sonoma.
A bachelor party. Got it there. Bought it at the UT store. So,
does it say Minnesota somewhere?
No, it says Texas.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
So maybe the Rangers tonight. Who knows?
Maybe
we're just going where we're
foreshadowing, or the Astros. I mean, either
Good. Doesn't say Houston, so.
But they are in Texas.
True. They have 6 teams in Texas. So.
They do.
Anyways, Correa is where I was going. You can play Witt. You can play Seager and Ellie. All those guys are fine. Anybody else at the top tier that you're playing?
Nobody in the top tier. I would say like the next guy after Correa would probably be JP Crawford for me, who returned yesterday. And even with Julio Rodriguez being like the best leadoff hitter ever, they had to put Crawford back into the leadoff spot. Not that that's a bad decision, just Crawford's been great. I'm like, I don't know what to make of Clevenger because he's been so good. And I was looking up, I was trying to look to see if there's like regression coming, and it looks like there is going to be some regression monster is going to hit. But lefties have definitely had the better season against Mike Clevenger on the year. 199 ISO, 322 WOBA. So JP Crawford 378 WOBA this year, 179 ISO against right-handed pitching. So I would get to Crawford tonight, especially if you're playing Mariners.
Sure. See if DraftKings has updated the lineups here for anybody while we move along. Other guys here at shortstop. Let's see here. Farmer's got thing. Ledmus, Andrews, Wins in the lineup again at 2,500, hitting ninth. Kara Kaiboon's back up. Hey, $2,200 against Rodon. Any interest there?
Mild interest. He's been
was once a top prospect. Obviously, it's didn't work out for him, but
no, it's very very mild. I do like some Washington, but they're mostly outfielders.
Sure. Any other shortstops rather before we move on?
No, I will say I think it's interesting that Volpe's hitting fifth, but that's like the extent of the interest. I think.
Sure.
The Yankees are finally waving the white flag. They called up two of their best prospects, and
Boone didn't make it to AAA.
But yeah, Austin Wells, I said it, top catching prospect, had 7 RBIs the other day. Didn't call him up. The Yankees catchers have 7 RBIs since the All-Star break. So, what are we doing? But Boone, even Aaron Boone said they're going to play they're going to play on most days. Still wouldn't commit to playing every day. Like, what are we doing? But I do think Volpe hitting fifth is interesting. He's been pretty good lately.
Sure. Moving on over to the outfield here again, not to sound repetitive, but you can play almost all of these guys depending on how your lineup builds make them fit. But Acuna, Ohtani, Betts, Judge, Trout, Tucker, Tatis, Julio, all of them are in. I guess I'd probably fade Carroll given sort of recent play. The lineup did just come out. He's leading off. You have Soto against a lefty, so probably no go for me there. But everybody else, I'd be fine playing Trout coming back. The whole group there.
Who is, if you had to narrow it down to like 3 guys?
Tucker, Rodriguez, Acuna, probably.
Acuna over Betts for you? Or are you just counting Mookie as a
I count Mookie at second.
Okay. I probably tend to agree. Yeah, I agree.
Got Donnie here in the chat saying he's going Harris for Atlanta, Mookie for LA, Tucker for Houston. Agree with you, man. Again, we'll go down for it. We're all in on Mookie. We talked about that at second base. I play Kyle Tucker almost every chance I can. You have Tanner Houck coming back from the IL today. A guy struggled against left-handed power. Lane Tom, we don't need to talk how much we've played Washington this year. Thomas has been a driving force for that for 2 years for us on this show. So I don't disagree with anything. The Harris one is interesting for a couple of reasons for me. One, obviously, it's great where he's hitting. He's 4,700, lefty against McGill, hitting second. All of that's great. But Ozuna's been on a tier for slightly cheaper, hitting fifth tonight, double dong last night. And McGill's equally as bad against lefties and righties. But then you have Eddie Rosario, who's hitting 6 at 4K. That man's hitting 400 with 1,200 OPS and 3 homers over his last 10 as well. So, I'm with you on Harris if you want to go there, but 4 outfielders for Atlanta are on this slate, and there are 2 guys cheaper that are performing just as well, if not better than Harris is right now, current form. But, yeah, man, I won't blink at a lineup that has Michael Harris in it tonight. I think he's a great play.
Shout out to Eddie Rosario. You know why he's so great, John? Because he was once a Minnesota Twin.
True. Played on a lot of teams.
32 home runs. 32 home runs with the Minnesota Twins 1 year, John.
Wasn't he another guy that needed like his eyes fixed and all of a sudden he could see the baseball again?
I do believe that is correct.
Right. Yep. Those baseball players, they're like, oh, wait a minute, I actually can't see like Freeman, Harper. It's like a long list of guys that like got to the majors and like failed their eye exam, and we're like, oh, I'll wear corrective lenses. We'll see if this helps me out. So, anyways, all in on Atlanta, 100% agree. Those of you tuning in who maybe are new to the show, appreciate you all stopping by. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel, get notifications for whenever we go live across the Fantasy Alarm platform here. All right, those top guys out of the way. Where are you going in the mid-tier tonight, man?
In the mid-tier, definitely getting to some Brian Reynolds at 4,800 against Adam Wainwright. This is the better end of his split. Reynolds has been pretty good all August. So Reynolds, we talked Harris. I think you can get away with some Boston left-handed bats against Verlander. I don't think I'd go overboard. Sure. Same thing with like Chas McCormick here coming off the double dong yesterday. He has double dong a bunch this year. I think it's a viable approach. You mentioned all the Braves are in play. Brent Rooker, as you mentioned earlier, he's a little interesting. He's heating up again. Homers in back-to-back games, and it's a lefty to start, which he's mashed, and then Greinke some point. We don't know when that point is to follow. And then you get below 4K, and Teoscar and Stone Garrett exist in the world.
Yeah, Teoscar, Stone Garrett. I like Jimenez here as well. If you're not in on Woo tonight, Eloy, that is, you'll have MJ Melendez against Jimenez for Oakland at some point before they go to the lefty. They're Outman against Syndergaard. I like a lot as well. Cade Marlowe's been hitting the ball really well. You can play Connor Joe down here. Some decent value options. David Peralta's hitting 5th tonight at 2,900 against Noah Syndergaard. So some decent options, as we mentioned. Jaquan Bay, DJ Stewart keeps homering, $2,700 against Bryce Elder tonight. No shortage of value on the slate. Luplo's hitting 3rd tonight against Wade Miley, a lefty masher over the course of his career. So a lot of options here today. Let's get to the Call of Fame and build a lineup and get out of here for everybody. Where are we going with your home run call tonight?
Mookie Betts is going yard tonight.
Okay, you got Mookie. I mentioned already. I got Austin Riley as my home run play today. Top stack. Should we just say not counting Atlanta here?
No, you could go Atlanta. I'm going to go with Dodgers. I think the Dodgers outscore. How about this? I think the Dodgers outscore Atlanta tonight. Okay.
Obviously, I like Atlanta a ton. You like the Dodgers. Alt stacks tonight, contrarian or value?
Pittsburgh is the clear-cut answer for value. Sure. Like, that is the clear-cut. I'll say alt stack is the Angels.
Okay. Angels are definitely interesting with Trout back. I would agree with you. I'm getting to Minnesota. I'm getting to Milwaukee. I'm getting to Pittsburgh. I think all of those guys kind of fill into some stacks while you're trying to build yourself around some Dodgers and Braves tonight. So that's where I'm going. What's your value play tonight?
Offensively, Jaquan Bay on the mound, Grayson Rodriguez.
Stealing all my thunder, man. I'll just double tap you on that. I agree with
Grayson.
Both of those.
Grayson or
both? I think both of them are great value plays here tonight. So let's build a lineup. Couple minutes left in the show. We'll plug in Grayson. And do we go Miller? Do we go Snell? What do you want to do?
Let's go Miller. I like the Miller play because it's going to get us either Dodgers or Braves, whichever we prefer. And we could probably honestly get both because you have like Dario at 4K you have I like the Miller play. Also, the Guardians are batting Cole Calhoun 3rd. Not to disrespect Cole Calhoun. I know he did homer yesterday, but like that's where we are with the Guardians.
Not great. They can play the outfield catcher. What did we want to do here? I mean, we didn't mention a Hop, but obviously he's also interesting.
Hitting 6th, yeah. Endy hitting 5th at 29 could be pretty good.
Got a lot of money to play with, so
that will get us to Olsen or Freeman, whichever we prefer.
We're going Correa here. Olsen works for me. 4,200 outfield and third base.
if you did one of the Dodgers outfielders like Outman or Peralta
You want
or
Outman or
Hayward,
which one do you like? Outman or Peralta?
I mean, I like Outman, but if Peralta got us to an elite third baseman over Outman, then
5,500 gets us to
Machado.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Works for me. So that's an example lineup. Everybody here, of course, will be in the Discord. The playbook is out. If you have any questions, get us there. Find us on Twitter as well at the _real_grande at JMpemba777. If you don't yet have the Fantasy Alarm All-Pro membership, you can get that today. You can scan the QR code on the screen. You can click the link in the description here. Comes with a 7-day free trial. Get access to all of our content on site. Premium content, tools, Discord, live expert advice. You get access to our fantasy football draft guide and cheat sheet as well. So sign up today, become a member of the All-Pro family over at Fantasy Alarm. James and I will be back tomorrow for Wednesday's slate. Good luck, everybody, tonight, and we will catch you all later.